All right, let me tell you a story. Picture this company. We'll call them Horizon Works. It's one of those places where people genuinely love their jobs, but there was this one thing, this one soul-crushing problem that hit them like clockwork every single morning. And it's a problem I bet a lot of you know all too well. Yeah, this was the joke going around the office. And like all good jokes, it was soaked in truth. For thousands of employees, the day didn't kick off with being productive. Nope. It started with just waiting. This one quote, man, it just perfectly sums up the frustration that was simmering right under the surface. And I really want to stress this. It wasn't a once-in-a-while thing. It was their daily ritual. You know the one, the spinning wheel of doom, the screen that's just frozen in time, that agonizingly slow crawl to a desktop you can actually use. It was this predictable, draining start to the day that was costing them way more than just employee morale. Let's just call it what it was, the 9 a.m. login nightmare. Seriously, just imagine thousands of people all trying to log in at the exact same moment. The company's whole Citrix environment would just groan under the weight of it all. It was pure chaos. So you're probably wondering, how bad are we talking? Well, we're talking anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes of wasted time for every person, every day. Now start multiplying that by thousands of employees, and you can see how this little problem was actually a massive productivity black hole. And this was the question just echoing through the IT department. They were totally trapped. See, they knew what the problem was, these massive user profiles, way too many apps trying to load at startup. But tearing down the whole system and starting over, that just wasn't an option. They needed something short of a miracle. And then, a hero shows up. Not in a cape, though. He was a consultant with a laptop. He just walks into the IT department, takes one look at the chaos, and asks this really simple question. Have you guys ever tried AppSense? The team was like, app what now? They'd never heard of it. So the consultant explains that AppSense is kind of like an invisible manager that works behind the scenes on every single desktop. It promised to take control of all that chaos and bring back order, all while not slowing anything down. Honestly, it sounded way too good to be true. So to prove his point, the consultant broke down what he called AppSense's 4 secret powers. The first one is technically called Environment Manager, but he gave it a much cooler name, the Magic Backpack. He said, look, every time a user logs in, it's like they're carrying this super heavy backpack, and it is stuffed with years of digital junk, old browser history, huge temp files, a messy, cluttered registry. All this stuff has to load every single time. That's what's slowing you down. So here's how the magic works. Environment Manager basically meets the user at the login screen and takes that heavy backpack. In a split second, it sorts through everything, tosses the junk aside, and just hands the user exactly what they need for that moment. And the result? A ridiculously fast, clean login. It's brilliant. Okay, on to secret power number 2. This one is called Application Manager, but a way better way to think about it is as the security bodyguard. The consultant painted this really clear picture. He said the company's network was like a huge building with thousands of unlocked doors. Any employee could run any program they stumbled upon online, which means they could accidentally let in malware or some other sketchy software. This wasn't just messy, it was a huge security nightmare waiting to happen. So, Application Manager steps in as the ultimate bodyguard. It runs on a really simple rule. If an app isn't on the approved list, it does not run. Period. End of story. It even blocks risky scripts and lets IT safely take away local admin rights from users. Basically, it slams all those doors shut and keeps the threats out. All right, power number 3. This one tackled another huge headache at Horizon Works. It's called Performance Manager, but the IT team quickly started calling it the CPU Traffic Police. So you know how this goes. Every Monday, somebody would run this monster spreadsheet, and it would just devour all the server's processing power. And what happens then? Everyone else's computer session freezes up or just crashes. One single power-hungry app could bring dozens of people to a grinding halt. Performance Manager acts just like a traffic cop for the server's resources. It sees that power-hungry app and intelligently slows it down just enough so it doesn't cause a massive traffic jam for everyone else. It controls memory, it controls CPU, and it makes sure that no single user can ever take down the whole server again. And that brings us to the 4th and final power, called File Director. This one really tied the whole user experience together. The consultant stuck with his backpack analogy, calling this one the Smart Backpack. The problem was simple. Users were saving files all over the place.
on their desktops, in their documents, on random network drives. So when they switched from their desktop to a laptop, their files were just gone. File Director fixes that. It syncs their important files across every device they use, automatically. It even gives them offline access. Their data just follows them, no matter where they go. It's seamless.
So at this point, the IT team was sold on the idea, but they had to see it to believe it. They decided to run a pilot test with 50 of the users who had the absolute worst performance problems. And the results? They weren't just good, they were absolutely staggering. I mean, just look at this. The change was unbelievable. Average login times cratered. They went from around 5 minutes all the way down to just 20 seconds. This wasn't some minor improvement, this completely changed the first 5 minutes of every single person's day. And you can see the ripple effect right here. When computers are faster and more stable, what happens? People stop calling IT for help. The number of support tickets from that pilot group dropped by 40% almost overnight. For the first time in a long time, the IT team could stop putting out fires and actually focus on improving things. But you know, numbers are one thing. The most important feedback came straight from the users. And this quote, it says everything. To the employees, all this tech was invisible. All they knew was that the daily frustration was just gone. It was replaced by a computer that felt brand new, a system that just worked. Well, after a pilot that successful, you know what came next. HorizonWorks went all in and rolled out AppSense to the entire company. And the result wasn't just a fix for a nagging problem. It was a complete transformation of their entire digital workplace. In just 3 months, the final numbers were just astounding. Login times were down 75% across the whole company. IT support tickets fell by a massive 60%. And it all came to a head when the CEO called the IT director and he summed up the real impact with one powerful sentence. "You just saved us millions." And that's the story of how one invisible piece of software became the quiet hero behind thousands of happy, productive desktops.